What's up, Scoopers? Erica Kroopin here. I'm really excited about today's guest. We are chatting with Joseph from, let me not mess this up, Repooval Dog Waste Removal Service. Thank you so much for joining us, Joseph.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm really excited. We were just chit-chatting before we hit record, and you've been scooping your butt off all day, and you just got finished enough time to look snazzy for me and hop on. So how did today go?
It was great. It was great. Early start, no rain, which is always a plus. It's supposed to rain tomorrow, and I will not be scooping tomorrow, so I'll be enjoying it through the window.
Nice. Yeah, we're actually supposed to get between 3 and 7 inches of snow starting at 5 a.m.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I
Yeah, I
don't know
don't
if we're
miss the
gonna be
snow.
yeah, I don't know if we're gonna be scooping. And so we just got a snowstorm. It's not really a snowstorm. It was like 2 inches, but that's the only snow that we've gotten pretty much all winter. So that happened 2 days ago, and then now we're getting hit with some more. So I think winter's finally starting for us.
Hey, before I found that Facebook group, I used to complain about rainy days, but after seeing all the weather that a lot of you guys in the Midwest and scooping it, I'm like, hey man, I'm never complaining about rain again because I thank God I'm not trudging through the snow doing it.
Yeah, it's tough. Like today, it was really sunny and the sun ricochets off of the snow. So usually I don't wear sunglasses. Like that's a big no-no. I always will miss piles if I scoop with sunglasses. I had to put my sunglasses on because I was walking around with one eye, like trying to find the piles because it was so sunny out there. It was wild.
It's crazy you say that because I usually don't wear hats, but I've started recently, like on days where I don't feel like, taking the time to do my hair. And I noticed like it gives me like tunnel vision. I miss so much with that brim, like kind of like locking me in. And I got to give it up. I can't scoop like that because I noticed I miss way more than like never ever was really missing anything before, but it just kind of like locks me in and I can't do it no more. I made that decision today.
Yeah, I mean, you have to do what works best for you. Me personally, I think the older that I'm getting, my eyes are getting more sensitive. So I have to have the hat because if not, my eyes are already kind of small. So I'm like squinty eyed and I'll catch myself going like this, just trying to catch some shade so I can see. So it's just all personal preference, right?
Yeah, and down here right now the grass is all dead, so like the poop and the grass are the same color,
Yeah, it's
and
tough.
it just complicates things even more.
Yeah, you just got to have that trained eye, and people will be like, how do you find it in the snow or how do you find it in the leaves? I'm like, well, we don't always find everything, but as we do it more, our eyes become trained. We can usually spot it pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
it sucks when you find it with your foot. I try to avoid that, but it's like it's inevitable. It's gonna happen.
Oh yeah. All the time. All the time. All right. Before we hop into the crappy conversation, let's do an introduction for our listeners. Who are you? Where are you from? How did you get into the field? Whatever you want to share up front with our listeners.
Yeah, cool, no problem. So I'm battling a cold. Um,
Okay.
I'm Joseph with Repooval. We're based about 10, 15 miles outside of Myrtle Beach. I started scooping full time back in March of 2022. Prior to that, I spent 4 years with the local nonprofit that served fathers. It was a nonprofit that was instrumental in helping me turn my life around. So it was great to get hired on from there and spend the last 4 years helping other fathers make some awesome changes in their life. But it kind of got to the point where I was just burnt out and I had nothing left to really give, and I didn't want to do any damage. So I didn't want to. I knew I had to do something different. So I took a leave of absence, and I was considering starting a pooper scooper business like right before COVID hit. And then everybody, COVID happened, the world was upside down, everybody was home doing all their own stuff, more so than ever before. And so it just really wasn't a good time, at least here. Didn't have much success. So I just, kept going forward at my 9 to 5. And then in March 2022, it was the time, to go ahead and see if it would work. And it worked. And, it's kind of been like a steady growth ever since then, which has been awesome.
That's really cool. And going back to your 9 to 5, it's really good that you were able to recognize that you didn't have anything left to give, and you were self-aware to know, like, I need to make the change. I learned that in therapy, and I usually use the term like my cup isn't full, so I can't give anything else. And when people don't pay attention to that, that's when bad stuff happens, I've learned, or that's when I start to break down. So
Yeah, definitely. And I was thinking about, when it took a lot for me to get to walk in and say, hey guys, I need help. And sorry, the last thing I could think is like, I know what it takes to ask for help, as a human, period. Not even
mhm.
like if you're a man or a woman, I think it's equally difficult. Um, and you don't want to walk in and see some dude that just doesn't even want to be here today, and you had to muster up all you had to even walk in the door. And that's just, I couldn't be that to somebody. I would never be able to forgive myself. So it was definitely time to take that leave.
Now, are you completely gone from there, or do you still kind of volunteer every once in a while?
I'm still in touch. I'm actually kind of in negotiations right now about coming back part time, but more on the data side of things instead of client facing. It would be more so, working with the intervention specialists there, kind of the case managers on how to, what data to capture and how to best, use it to grow the mission and make sure the metrics are being hit for the grants. So different capacity. But yeah, we've been talking back and forth over the last month about that. So just waiting to see what that'll look like exactly.
Man, that's amazing. And you said grants, so this is grants to help fathers that are trying to get back on their feet, or
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, it covers all kinds of different
mhm.
stuff. There's also a sister program that helps the mothers too. But we have, one of the initiatives that was launched about a year and a half ago was targeting men before they become fathers. So reaching out to preteen age. And so it's moving a lot into that work too. So it's really, definitely a big focus on fathers, whether it's going back to school, getting a trade, a degree, getting into a career, just basically trying to take that man from where he is now and where he ultimately wants to be.
Or yeah, do you guys also teach guys how to start businesses?
Yeah, yep. We're lucky to have, there's four main components of the program, and one of it is, in economic stability. It was recently changed to economic mobility instead of stability. And we're lucky to have a lot of great volunteers in a lot of different spaces. And so that's one part of it is the entrepreneurship. And, when I was there, a lot of the guys on my caseload, I mean, that's the overwhelming majority of the guys I worked with. That's what they wanted to do. They just didn't have the tools. And at the time, I didn't really know either. So we were able to connect them with partners that could kind of, flesh that out with them and give them the steps they need. But that's definitely something that I'm looking on as I'm learning to be able to go back and maybe be a volunteer in that space too.
Yeah, that would be really good. I heard this phrase, who wins when you succeed, right? So you were able to build yourself up, you started this business, you're achieving your goals, and so you're going to be able to pass that on to other people. And I love that. I think that's really important.
Yeah, it's an important thing because man, I don't think there's anybody that can look at where they are now and not identify some key help along the way to get there. And I
Absolutely.
believe that, it's nice if you've made it through something, I believe you should reach a hand back to help somebody else up too.
Yeah. That's why I started my YouTube channel, because I wanted to be able to help people that maybe didn't have the resources, or just didn't wasn't able to start a business. So that's the reason why I'm doing my thing. But as for the business, so you started in March of
Yeah.
2022. How many customers do you have now?
Right now, I think it's right at 50 weekly customers.
Oh, that's
This
amazing.
week I've had, some come, some go. But I think it's at right about 50 weekly customers now.
I remember when I hit 50 customers, I was like, yes, 50 customer. This is amazing. And it's like when you get your first customer, I don't know how you felt about it, but were you like, I can't believe I got my first customer. I'm scooping dog food. I'm making money. This is
Yeah,
this is it.
it was awesome. And, I'm just as excited about number 50 as I am the first one. And what's wild is I have like just about every one of my first customers still.
That's amazing. Now, how'd you get that first customer?
Through Facebook Marketplace, posted on there, and then like the local buy sell groups. And that's how I've gotten the majority of my customers. I just recently started dipping into the paid advertising side of things and still trying to get the keywords and everything right. But most of them are from, word of mouth and then like the local neighborhood Facebook groups.
Now, what did you post? So you posted in the buy sell trade group. Did you post a meme? Did you post your logo? What kind of verbiage did you
Uh,
use?
there's definitely been some evolution, as I get a better idea of what I'm doing. But I try, Canva is a great tool. Like I couldn't live without Canva. And when it comes to graphics and arts, I'm not like the most creative person. So like I love the templates where you can kind of like, okay, if I have something to work with, I can change things around. So it's usually sometimes memes that are funny. Sometimes, like a graphic. Um, Try to keep things lighthearted or kind of talk about the pain points. That's like, oh yeah, I don't want to deal with that no more. Kind of target that, So whether it's like a boot about to step in a pile of crap, just whatever. I try and different things, see what works.
That's good to be able to test stuff out and then figure out like who you are as a communicator. That's something I struggled with in the beginning. I would try to write like blog posts. I misspell stuff all the time. I cannot write blog posts. That's why I do video so much, because that's just more my style. So you lean more into like what your style is, and you say you're more heavy on like the lighthearted humor type deal.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm glad you did create your channel because there's not a lot of resources out. I mean, like you can find tons of stuff on every other business, but there's not a lot of quality content out there when it comes to pooper scooper business. And I think when I first had the idea and looked, a while ago, you were like the only video I came across, and I watched all of them and then put things on pause, found the group, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's your channel again, and just like I binged everything once I rediscovered you when I started, getting serious about this, and I'm thankful for it because you answered a lot of the questions I had. I was just like, just shooting in the dark on a lot of things. So like, I definitely consider your videos a huge help to, being where I am now so far.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad. I am really happy that the videos were able to help you. So when you got started, have you ever had a business before, or is this your first business?
Now this is the first one.
So did you feel confident when you first started, or were you just like, well, I'm just gonna figure this out and see where it goes?
A little bit of both. Um, I had a good idea, from I knew I had a good mentor that maybe didn't even know he was a mentor. Our executive director at the nonprofit I worked at. His work ethic was like legendary, known all across the state. And so just watching him, I've always wanted to have my own business. And when I started working there and noticing how he did things and why he did them that way, I just started taking a lot of notes. So I had to kind of tap into things I learned along the way. So there was some stuff I was confident on, a lot I wasn't. I wasn't confident about how to price things. I screwed myself a lot of times trying to figure that out. So it was kind of like a mixture of both.
Yeah, I don't put a lot of pricing content out there just because it's so different from state to state. Some people's prices are higher, and I've been told like your prices are so high. And then other scoopers are like, your prices are low. And I'm like, it works for me for right now, but I've been in the same boat. I've screwed myself over. I've cried in a couple backyards. Have you
Yeah,
had
I
it?
went to one today that I was like, I pulled up to it and I walked in the backyard and I saw it. I'm like, I had to sit there and think like 30 seconds. Am I just going to get back in my truck and leave? No money was exchanged. I'm like, I don't know about it. It was just, but I did it, right? I wasn't seriously considering not doing it, but it was just one of those thoughts like, oh man, this was like not how it was described. And I don't know why I'm not used to that yet because a lot of people, I want to say lie, but I feel like that puts, I don't want to speak to the mobile. I think that in this business, there's a lot of embarrassment that may come from customers.
Yes.
And it's not like they're out to deceive or shortchange anybody. But I think it's just it's a touchy subject,
Yeah,
and
it's intimate.
so
And then also, how many times have you just been living your life and somebody's like, oh, this happened. You're like, oh, that was a couple of days ago. And they're like, no, it's been like a month or,
like
whatever.
every day.
Right. And so I think what happens is people get crazy busy, life goes on, and they think maybe it's only been a couple weeks or a month, but really it's been 3 months. And then you walk into that situation and you're contemplating all the decisions that led you to that house. You're like, well, how
Yep.
did I hear? How did I get here? We've
Yeah,
all
and I think that's what it is. And one of the things, about the, posting in these groups is everyone's got an opinion. And it just like it breaks my heart when I see comments like, you shouldn't have a dog if you're too lazy to pick it up. And that's like, how I don't even get how people think like that or say things like there's a million different reasons why someone would use the service. And it's not any different than hiring a landscaper or taking, can change the oil in my truck or I can take it to Jiffy Lube. Like the good thing about money is you kind of pick and choose what you do and don't want to do. It's a great thing about money. And then plus, of course, there's a large portion of our customers that are seeking us out because they can't do it. Like even if they wanted to, they can't. And there's people that can do it and don't want to, and that's great too.
now, how do you handle those situations when you post in the group and then people start attacking you? What do you usually do?
Um, I have like a standard response now, but like at first I wanted to be like, "Hey, asshole," and like, you know,
Yeah.
you just had to say something. But I didn't. I've noticed is as much as I want to respond like that, I've actually gotten a lot of customers based on, my measured reply to it. Basically saying some of the things we just said now. Like there's a lot of people that can't do it, and there's some who don't. But hey, there's a million things you pay for, a million things I pay for that I could do myself, but I don't want to. But I've gotten a lot of people that are like, wow, man, it's great how you handled that. Can you give me a quote real quick? Stuff like that. So but it's just sad because I hate that a lot of my customers follow me on our social media pages. And I hate that they would see that and feel bad for it when they shouldn't feel bad about it.
No, they
It's not
shouldn't.
fair.
And that's a topic that a lot of us have had, and we've been, bullied, and we've had our businesses put down, and having an automated response like that, because this is our baby, right? And you feel like you're getting personally attacked, your customers are getting attacked, and you want to get mad, but your customers or potential customers are watching. So like you said, just automated response, keep it cool, because you never know who's reading that comment.
Yeah, and you're right about the jokes. I mean, I get them all the time. And I remember when I switched, someone was like, hey, man, you left an office environment to go pick up shit. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, that's how you look at it. I mean, I'm out in these yards picking up money.
Yeah, absolutely. You're running your own business, you have your freedom, you get to be outside breathing the fresh air, and it's an honorable job. You're
Yeah,
helping people out. And yeah, I think being in this industry, you have to have like a lighthearted personality anyways, because people will come for you. It's not a traditional type job. So I think it takes a special person to even own this business and run it well.
I agree. I agree. And it's been great getting to see and hear more of those personalities because of that, there's not a lot of people that we can talk to. So that there's certain groups and, channels like yours where we can all come together and talk about it. It's great because there's not a lot of people you can talk about it with.
No, and so I'm like a weirdo. Like I've always been weird. I've always talked about poop. Like I have a poetry book that my brother gave to me from my parents' house, and in two of the poems, 2 out of 5, I talked about poo. So like this has always been a thing for me. But like you
Yeah,
said, you can't just talk to other people about it because they're like, yo, like we're eating. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. My bad. Didn't mean to talk about business. So yeah, it's
that's
been cool
funny.
to be able to link up with people and that share the common ground.
And I really enjoy people. I'm a people person. And I've always found people interesting. So like I also love seeing the different ways that people do things and how they run their business. And what they place a high importance on it and what they don't as far as, whether it's software or tools or automation. Different people value different things. And it's just awesome, being able to learn from everybody and see like, okay, wow, I can see the value in that where before I couldn't.
Yeah, yeah. So with you going through the experiences, learning from people, you had a mentor, the group where you kind of learn stuff. Have you gained more confidence in certain areas because of the experiences?
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely.
What do you
Um,
feel like your strong point in business is right now?
right now, I would say that I mean I've got a clear vision of where I'm trying to go and how to get there. And being a people person, I, I'm good at talking to people. So it's like one of the challenges was communicating through text. I'm not big on text. I prefer talking. Maybe that's just because I'm old, but everybody, now it's text, text, text. So
Yeah.
I had to adjust to that because in text, I mean, there's so many things that can be taken the wrong way. You kind of got to tiptoe and really think how you're wording things. So that's been an area I'm a lot more confident in now, is because I'm like, oh man, did I say the right thing? Is that taken the wrong way? Or maybe I'm taking things the wrong way that somebody says, where sometimes the response can come off rude and the person sitting there smiling while they're typing it.
Yeah, that's really good. I was getting a wrap done on my car. Well, it's not getting done yet, but I was communicating with the guy yesterday and I was trying to type out the email and I said, I just got to call him. So I did. I was like, hey, can we talk on the phone? Because I cannot type this out. I have to talk to you verbally. So being able to have that communication, it's important for business because like you said, you could be like, oh, they're mad, but they're just smiling, laughing, key. And then you have that
Yeah, yeah.
miscommunication. Yeah. So your business is growing. You already have 50 customers and you're under a year. That's amazing. What are some growing pains that you're dealing with right now as your business grows?
Definitely like route planning and scheduling. I've never been a very organized person, like
I feel you.
ever. I don't think I've ever had like an organized day in my life. And so that's definitely something I'm having to grow in. So just been spending a lot of time lately, looking at the right tools for it. I know you're a big fan of Jobber.
Yep.
I'm getting ready to try Sweep and Go. I did a trial of that. Um, I don't, just didn't click with me, the interface. Not saying anything bad about it. I probably didn't explore it all the way. Um, might have been too much of a snap judgment, but I want to try Jobber. So really, just I got to be more organized. And like I'm still running around with notebooks. I have a CRM that I'm using, a free one called Wave Apps, which I like a lot. But it doesn't have a routing scheduling feature like that. It's great for invoices and taking payments. But as far as like a calendar and route scheduling and this that, like I've got to be more organized. So that's a growing pain right now.
Yeah, you have to, especially with having the 50 customers. That is where about I switched over to Jobber because I was using a free one. It was fine, but I didn't like it. And I signed up with Jobber. And listen, it was a learning curve. I remember when I first tried it out, I was like, I can't do this. I got to go back to my Google document. But I knew that what I was doing there wasn't working out moving forward because I would, forget to invoice people. I didn't charge somebody for 4 months. They let me service them and not charge them. And I didn't realize for 4 months, you know? And then once I signed up with Jobber, I did it in the winter. So I was able to take the time and really dedicate and learn it. And it was frustrating for a while. But now I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine running my business now without a CRM. So I'm happy that you're testing different ones out and see what's the best fit for you. But I love Jabber. Jabber's
Yeah,
my favorite.
yeah, because it's I figured now's the time.
Yeah,
You know, I,
it
I
is.
it's already going to be kind of a pain in the ass right now, but it's better now at 50 than 100.
Yeah. Oh goodness. Cause you have to enter everybody's information in. And then once you get everybody in moving forward, when anybody wants to come on with you to sign up, you send them the onboarding link and they type in their name, their address, they answer the questionnaire so you can qualify them. You can send them the quote, you can schedule the job, route them, and collect payment. And it's very, very seamless.
Yeah, yeah. Before, that's something I like as proof I haven't spent the money on to this point. But now, like, that's how I see the
Yeah.
value in now. When I was starting out, it was easily manageable, and now it's not. So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, I got to spend money, which is fine
Once
if it makes things easier.
once you get it figured out and it's flowing well, you're gonna sleep a little bit better at night. You will.
Yeah,
Because you won't be like, oh, did I forget to add them onto the schedule? There was times where I would hop out of bed and I would run over and look at my the routing thing that I had set up to see if I had moved the person over.
yeah. I mean, I've seriously have like went out, scooped, came home, took my boots off, changed, and I'm like, oh crap, I totally forgot about so and so.
Yeah,
And it's
it's a
dark
really
out
bad
now.
feeling.
Yeah, yeah, because like I said, I mean, I was feeling guilty being like a few minutes late getting things up and running here. It's like, man, I felt terrible. But the person's like, hey, don't worry about it. But it sucked. You don't want to miss a customer when you give them a time and a date and everything that you're going to be there.
Yeah, all of that. So you don't have a CRM right now, and you said that you feel like you haven't had an organized day. What are you using right now to keep you like semi-organized? Is it just the notebook?
I got my notebook, but I have the invoicing app that I use, the Wave apps. Right now the recurring invoices helps, keeps my days organized. But I do sit there and I have everything, in a spreadsheet. But I
That's good.
have, my route days lined up, got them in the right order now, but it's not ideal.
Right.
So
I
I've
mean,
got things together, but it's just like the old, long, sucky way of doing
yeah, and then and it's a headache. So you're at that point where you definitely need to check it out. So if you have any questions about Jobber, let me know. I don't know everything, but I've used it a lot, so I know a lot of stuff.
it. Yeah, I definitely will. Definitely will.
All right, cool. So you've we have our ups and downs and you've had some successes. So what do you do to celebrate your wins when you hit a goal or milestone in the business?
My favorite way to celebrate is by going out to eat.
What's your favorite kind
So
of food?
Italian, Italian. My wife is Italian, and like we pretty much work, come home, do everything with the kids. So I don't have like a large friends group or anything like that. So our hobby is trying new restaurants. So when we set certain milestones, it's stuff for the kids, stuff for us, kind of deal. And so, which was kind of, I guess, to circle back, that was like one of the driving principles between starting this business, or the driving goals is I spent over the last 4 years, I was hardly home. And, I wanted to spend more time, so it's like, how can I work less and make more? And of course, when you're starting a business, you're going to work more than you ever have in your life.
Yeah.
But the reward comes when you can get things, have the right tools, the right people, and kind of step back a little bit. So that's how we pretty much celebrate, is doing stuff. Whether it's my wife and I having an extra date night, or taking the kids out to do something fun, or buying them something they've wanted. Makes it all feel worth it, because that's what I'm working for every day.
And that's really
So
important
it's nice
too,
to
like
share it with them.
not just with the kids, but when you have a partner to have those date nights and go out, because when you're running the business, you guys are living your lives, you're focused on the kids. And when you've been together for a while, it's almost like you can fall into a roommate stage, because it's just
Yeah,
you're just going through the motions. So it's good to take that time, reconnect, hang out, have fun, and enjoy the fruits of your labor.
definitely, definitely. And it's easy to just live life on autopilot instead of
Yeah.
being intentional about
Yeah.
things. And we were caught into that. It's pretty much like you wake up, go to work, come home, it's dinner, homework, bed, wake up, do it again. I mean, it's easy to just get caught up in that. You're not really doing anything besides
Right.
just going through the motions, half there, half gone.
And then you wake up and you're like, the whole month of January or July is gone. What did I do?
Yeah, yeah, really, really. I mean, and like ever since COVID, I mean, I have no concept of time. Everything feels like forever and everything feels like a second.
It does. It does. So what do you do on the days when you're not feeling good, you're not motivated, you get a complaint and you're feeling crappy? How do you decompress?
I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm still trying to figure that out. But you know, to be honest, I really haven't had many days like that because I've never been happier, you know, and so yeah, there are some sucky days. Um, but you know, I think one of your episodes someone was talking about a vision board. And so, you know, I have like a makeshift one on my phone that, you know, helps keep me grounded. So when you have a day, you know, where the weather's terrible, it's cold and everything that goes wrong, and you got five first time cleanups and they're all disasters, it's easy like, oh man, screw this. But, you know, just continue like, you know, one of our goals is we want to be able to buy a house, a new house. And so, you know, just thinking about the things, what it's all for, you know, that's what helps keep me grounded is just remembering, you know, where I'm ultimately trying to get to and knowing that it takes hard work and a lot of sucky days mixing with the good ones to get there.
When we get off this episode, remind me to send you a link to this YouTube video because I just watched one today and it's about trying to get a loan or buy a home as a entrepreneur. And the guy talks about how if you want to buy a house, you need to start planning 2 years prior when you are a small business owner because it is harder to get a loan as a self-employed person versus a W-2 employee.
Yeah, yeah, I would
Yeah.
definitely appreciate that.
He hits on like 5 different things. I was my last yard actually, I was listening to it. I've been following this guy for like a year and a half. He's a landscaper. That's how actually I really got into the YouTube stuff. I started watching landscaping content because there was no pooper scooper content. So then I was like,
Yeah.
I need to make some content. So that's how the YouTube thing popped off.
Yeah, and there is a lot of landscape, and I noticed that too when I was looking for different pooper scooper resources. There
Yeah.
was not a lot. There was like you and then a bunch of landscapers.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why I was like, okay, well, I guess at first I was a little nervous because I'm like, there's nobody doing content. I was like, okay, so I didn't have anybody to really look to be like, okay, well, this is what people are talking about. So I just started talking about whatever. And I was actually talking to Kathy yesterday from the group, and she's like, are you going to start doing your truck talks again? And she's like, I really miss those. I'm like, I should do that. I just need to get a phone holder for my truck because my last one broke. That's the only reason why I haven't done them is because I've been lazy and just haven't bought a new phone holder.
Yeah, I keep seeing the commercials for what is it, WeatherTech with their little one.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. It's like because the Colorado dashboard is weird. And so I can't put a traditional like phone holder on there because there's like a dip in the middle. So I had put one on my windshield, but how I park my truck, it melted and it fell on the ground. So
Wow.
I don't know. I got to figure it out so I can do that because I got to give the people what they want, you know?
Got to. And that's another thing that like you saved me from making a big, big mistake speaking of trucks. Um, I saw a Maverick and I was like, oh, I want that. You know, I got a bad habit. Like I'm a spender and my wife is a saver. And I'm learning. I'm learning not to be so impulsive. But so I decided I wanted a new truck for no, I mean, my one I have works fine. I just want something new and shiny. And so I was looking, going back and forth with the guy about a Maverick. And I saw your video on the way home one night. I think it was right after your accident. You're like, I will never buy a brand new truck again.
Never.
And I was like, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. So I texted him, like, never mind, man. I appreciate your time. Thank you. When the time comes, I'll reach out to you. But I mean, who knows what that video alone saved me? Because, I mean, it wasn't the best decision. When I got a truck that works great, it's just a little old. It still looks good, runs good. But I almost made that mistake chasing these damn Mavericks.
Yeah, I'm impulsive as well. And that's something that something that I struggle with big time. And I'm also a spender. You get $5,000 in my pocket. I'm like, ooh, what can I buy? But having the accountant be like, no, don't do that. And then he's holding me accountable too, you know, because I have to report that. When I bought that truck, I didn't buy one. I bought two of them. I went from having just house debt to now having a house debt and 2 truck payments. And am I like super mad about it? No, because I do have 2 reliable vehicles. I didn't have the nicest vehicles prior. So it worked out. But if you have a nice vehicle and it's running and it gets the job done, yeah, try to hold off, try to get, $5,000 to $8,000 saved up and then buy something used, like 5 years old or something like that. Because when that truck got into an accident at like 15,000 miles, I was devastated.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. I probably would have cried.
I wanted to. I only cry like twice a month, and I wasn't going to waste one of my cries on that.
Yeah, I mean, if you got them ration like that, yeah, save that one for a more meaningful.
Yeah, for sure.
But
All
you
right,
know
so what
what?
go ahead, what?
I'm just going to say one thing that has really surprised me about this is how helpful um, my customers have been. I've had a lot of customers be like, "How can I help? Like, I love what you're doing. How can I help?" And one of them was did marketing in a past life before they moved down here and retired. That's always just texting me random ideas. The other one was a real estate agent, and so that's who I was kind of talking to. You remind me about that when you're talking about how as a business owner how to get set up. That was something that she's spoken about. But it
That's
was
good.
crazy is a lot of support comes from customers and maybe not so much. I'm lucky that I have a supportive family. Um, but I know a lot of people that, when they were starting their ventures, they didn't have anybody. And it was just kind of like, it just shocked me how helpful strangers could be. That they're like, hey, man, I love what you're doing. How can I help? And I just, was shocked to see that.
I think because you radiate positivity. Like we've talked online and stuff, and this is our first time talking face to face, but I've watched your videos when we became friends on Facebook, and you connect with people very fast. Like as soon as I watched your videos, you're engaging. So I think because you are genuine, people want to help genuine people, and you can't fake that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, you're
I got the
welcome. So
same vibe from you.
thank you, thank you. Sometimes I'm an overshare and I gotta chill out. I'm like, whoa, but it's the anxiety part of me. I'm a talker, so I'm like, and a lot of my customers, they don't really come outside anymore. Like I probably couldn't pick out 90% of them out of a lineup. But if they did come outside, I would only be able to do 10 houses a day because I'd be in the
Oh,
backyard like
yeah.
blah, 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 you know?
Yeah. Yeah. That was another thing I had to get used to, too, is like, when you think of doing business, like I was surprised by how much of it is done through the phone, like through text. Nobody comes out to talk. No one's. I mean, most people aren't home during the day when I'm there, but that was another part that was like, wow. Because like you said, I could be behind them at the grocery store and not even know it if it wasn't for
Yep.
their Facebook picture when they messaged me.
Do you wear your company stuff out? Because I do, and my staff does. And we get recognized all the time. People will be like, oh, hey, Kroopin, Poopin, Scoopin.
Yeah, I live in it. I live in
Yeah,
it.
you have
Yeah,
to.
like I pretty much started. It's a neon green shirt. And I just it's part of my wardrobe now. I figure if I don't advertise me, who will?
Yeah, exactly. And it's a good conversation piece because people are thrown off because it's still a newer, not well-known industry. It's growing, but people are like, wait, what do you do? And you got to just have your
Yeah,
spiel, your little 5-10 second spiel to let them know what you do. And don't
yeah,
really give them the opportunity to be like, oh, I, I pick up. Well, some people will be like, oh, well, I do it every day. I'm like, well, if you change your mind, here's my card. Don't hesitate to reach out.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
If you ever want a week off, hey, no contracts. You don't have to commit. You want to give yourself a day off. You know where to find me. And
especially with
other,
like the older generation too. Like,
yeah,
um, I've had several customers, like neighbors, that they'll be just scooping while I'm scooping, and this one gentleman was like, "Oh, I do it every day. I'd never." Well, he had a stroke, right? And then he was in the hospital and he couldn't do it. So his wife reached out to me, was like, "Hey, can you scoop our yard?" I said, "Yes, not a problem." So you never
yeah,
know
yeah,
what's gonna happen with your health.
yeah. I lost a customer yesterday, and I was happy about it, right? Because it was a temporary one. She had
Okay.
surgery on her foot, couldn't walk, for like the last 3 months now, I think 3, 4 months. And she texted me and told me, "Hey, I'm able to do it myself." And I was like, "Yes, that's awesome, great." But it's nice being able to be there for people, in their, I don't mind doing it for people that just don't want to do it. I'm still helping, right? So I'm still
Yeah.
cool with it. But it's extra rewarding when you're doing it for somebody, and you see, like I've had people say it saved my relationship,
Hmm.
my back. I can't. I mean, it's crazy the problems that picking up poop can solve for somebody, the difference it can make in somebody's life. Just something that we look at and be like, oh, it's no big deal. But hey, maybe all the energy someone has to be able to do it that day, and you're giving them time back, saving them from pain, discomfort. That's awesome.
And time is the most precious currency. It's
Yep.
something we just don't ever get back for sure. So what would you say your next step in business is?
I definitely have started thinking about that. So looking at a couple different ventures, I still got a while to go before I can really, identify what the next thing is. But
Yeah.
I've caught the bug and I'm excited, and I got a couple ideas, but I really just love this business so much. So I'm excited about taking this, seeing where it goes and what leads off from it. Have been thinking about a lot of complementary services, and some things that are just like totally unrelated. But I wish I wouldn't have taken so long to believe in myself and to bet on myself. I wish I would have done this like, forever ago. But, you know, can't change that. I can just change tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, let's say that your next step is going to be to lock in a CRM.
Yes, yes, yes.
Let's say
The
that.
next step is definitely more organization. Yeah, for sure.
Woo.
I
Or
just took you a
yeah.
little too literally.
Yeah, organization is tough. I struggle, yeah, all the time. I have this huge calendar on my wall, and I'm like, "You're gonna change my life. It's gonna happen." No, no, I don't even look at that thing. If you could go back and you could talk to your younger self, what's one piece of advice you'd give him?
Oh man, jeez, that's a tough one because I've done a lot wrong. I guess I'd go back to what I just said. Is there's a lot of I let um, I've let fear hold me back from a lot.
Yes.
And I was just talking to my dad about the other day. Like 15 years ago, he had a Harley. He was like, "Hey man, like you can have it. Learn how to ride it. You can have it." And I was like, I have no problem with it. Like I was scared, um, because the one time I did try to ride it, I crashed it out, whatever. And I was like, "Nope, not again." But we were talking about bikes, and that's when he brought it up. And I said, he mentioned about getting the kids a dirt bike, the grandkids a dirt bike. And I was like, oh, that'd be awesome. And he's like, why? You didn't ride the last one I had. I said, yeah, but I'm not going to let it hold me back this time. And so I would definitely, just, I mean, it'd be like one of those cartoon scrolls, and it just goes and goes and goes forever if I were to talk about the things that fear held me back from.
Man, I feel that so much. Fear has held me back with so many things as well. And it's almost like we're our worst enemy, our worst critic. And when I get asked this question too, I'm like, it's me. Like I am the problem. It's
Yep.
always been me. And it's good to be able to admit that and be like, all right, and work through it daily because it's like in us, right? It's in our DNA because that's our personality type. So we have to fight against it pretty much every day.
Yeah. And one of the gifts that I have, and I spent a long time thinking it was a curse, but it's a gift now that I see it that way, is I am acutely aware of every single area I fall short in.
Yeah.
I don't have no illusions about it. 9 times out of 10, I'm the problem. I will say so. But, I think it maybe goes hand in hand with my anxiety. It's like, when you're so aware of every area you suck in or you need work in or you're practicing, like, it's just like I don't even know where to begin. There's just so many things. But it's great because when you become aware of it, you can start working on it. There's a lot of people that are oblivious to the fact that they're the problem, and
I cut those people out
it's
of my
great to
life.
be aware of it. Yeah, yeah.
They
I
gotta
mean, you
go.
have to. if you can't ever admit you're wrong, I just can't know you anymore.
Hmm. I had to work on that in therapy with boundaries, creating boundaries with other people and myself because of that. Because I would want to lose it. And I'm like, this isn't worth it. You got to go. But it's because I love myself, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
But it's been a great journey. I think, I think the entrepreneur journey is basically a personal development journey because you can't be
yes.
successful in business if you're not growing, personally, right? You can't grow a business if you're not growing. Just like, I would always say you can't be a great dad if you're not a great man first. You can't stay stagnant in your life but grow a business. I don't think it's possible. Maybe to a certain extent, you can kind of skate by and phone it in, but there's going to come a point in time where you've gone as far as you can unless you start growing.
And that's the truth. Because where I'm at right now in business, I can't I can't grow anymore, right? I can't grow unless I hire. I get another truck. And I've been stuck at this phase because I feel like I'm not a good leader. There's just something there that I'm not there for. I'm not there yet. And that was going to be one of my goals for this year is to work on my leadership skills.
I think you might surprise yourself.
It's that self-talk where it's like you're not good, you're not going to do a good job, and that is the goal for 2023 for me is to handle my emotions better because being a boss
Yeah.
is emotional. Like when I had to terminate somebody, I cried before and I cried after.
It
I,
means
I
you're a
wrote
good person.
I wrote it down on a piece of paper, everything that I needed to say. I hated it. I hated
Yeah.
every part of it. But yeah, that's something that I didn't enjoy doing, but that comes with part of the job. And like you said, you're learning something. And that's what's really cool about being an entrepreneur too, because there's so many things that you can do.
Yeah. I mean, it's endless. I mean, like for the first time, I really believe like I could be anything I want to. We get told that as kids, and we're like, yeah, whatever. But it really has opened my eyes up to it's an ownership thing.
Yeah.
Um, I spent a lot of time going through life thinking, oh, it's everyone else's fault. If I wouldn't have been born where I was born or who I was born, or blaming everything in the world. I had all these limitations that weren't even real. They were just, figment of my imagination. There wasn't anything that ever happened to me that I couldn't overcome if I put my mind to it. And I think a lot of us live in those invisible prisons like that. And this has been just such a freeing experience and so liberating to, the ownership is a double-edged sword because, you're responsible for a lot. And you're
Mhm.
not like, you got to worry about everything. It's not like you just show up to work and someone else has to worry about how are we going to be profitable this year. You do that. But I found it to be a lot more freeing than it has worrisome.
Yeah, because it can be a good experience or it can be a bad experience. It depends on how you handle it. And with getting organized and doing all of the systems that I've done, some days I don't have a lot going on. Like there's not fires to put out. And I'm just sitting here after I'm done doing the things I needed to do. I'm like, I feel like I should be doing more. But I've already
Yeah.
done so much. But because it's been
Yeah.
automated, so you're able to relax and enjoy your business. And I think that's really important. People need to create a business that they're going to enjoy and love.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine doing this, everything that comes along with it if I didn't love
Yeah.
it. And to be honest, I mean, if I wasn't doing it, like I would have thought like, how could I ever love this? Right? But doing it, like, I mean, I love it. It's great being able to work outside. Yeah, like, I don't really have a complaint, you know. And I had COVID like 6 months ago, and I haven't been able to smell or taste anything for 6 months. So, like, there's not even that negative aspect to it, right? Like, I'm not even smelling the crap. I'm just, like, I have no complaints right now about it. Yeah, I love every aspect of it. And I never would have thought I'd say that about this business, before doing it.
Ah, I love that. I think a lot of the listeners, we can all relate to it that It's not something that we planned on, but it's cool. It's a cool thing. So for the
Yeah.
listeners, you're pretty active on social media. You have some cool videos. Where can people keep in touch with you? Where are you at hanging out at?
Um, just, Facebook, I'm on there, Repooval.com. If you want to connect, just look me up, Joseph R. Stiltner. You got to include the R
Mm-hmm.
on Facebook. Willing to talk to anybody. I don't, the Facebook group that we're in, that's been awesome. I think it's
Yeah.
what Pet Waste Technicians. That's a great group.
Yes.
So, you know, anywhere on social media, I'm there.
Are you on TikTok and Instagram?
No, I'm on Instagram as Repooval. I don't have a personal Instagram, and I don't know if I'm on TikTok. I don't know if I'm that cool yet.
TikTok it's a mess. I posted a video that got like 180 something thousand views, and I ended up on the not so good at TikTok that they were mad at me and they were ripping me apart in the comments. So I'm like, I gotta stay away from this.
Yeah, like my oldest son is 15, and like he had to teach me Snapchat, and so I don't know if I'm ready for TikTok.
It's a waste a bunch of your time. It's not worth it. I'll
Yeah,
go
yeah,
ahead. I'll include your links down in the show notes. Well, this was really fun. Is there any last words for the listeners before we sign off?
yeah, definitely. Believe in yourself, for real. I know it's cliche and stuff like that, um, but it's true. It's free. It really is. You know, just bet on yourself. If you've been thinking about doing this business, there's never going to be a perfect time, right? There's never going to be the perfect weather, the perfect situation, the perfect circumstances. Just start doing. Like you don't have to give up your 9 to 5. Just start doing. I started doing it on the weekends, sometimes before going into work, sometimes after. Just do, right? Sometimes I think action is the most important part.
Yep.
You can't do if you don't do, right? So bet on yourself, believe in yourself, and give it a chance. For real, bet on yourself. You might be surprised what you win.
Man, that's some fire. That's a great way to wrap up this show. So thank you so much for everybody that's tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, do all the thingies. And until next time, bye.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it was great having you. Don't hang up on me. I'm going to stop
Okay.
recording.